My name's Simon Harmer. I'm a former combat medic in the British Army. I'm a double amputee. I'm an open water swimmer, and I'm also lucky enough to be a patient at the Men's Health Clinic.
Having met Simon, what sort of emotion does it give you, like, towards your life?
I mean, it gives you perspective that no matter what you're doing, you've got to keep going. You know, wherever you are in life, there's no point stopping and giving up. Just keep moving forward.
So why did I join the military? Some of it was self-inflicted, as in I didn't do too well at school. Although I knew I was going to join something like that, and my actual goal was to join the fire brigade. At that point, although you didn't need any qualifications, you needed something, which I didn't have. So I thought the best thing I could do is join the military, and I decided that I needed a trade, and the best thing that would get me into the fire brigade would be to join as a medic, as a combat medic, and that's what I did. And my initial plan was only to stay in for probably the minimum, whatever that was, whether it was 3 or 5 years, I can't remember. But that was my plan. But I'll be honest with you, I was having too much fun. Within the first 3 years, I hardly set foot back in the UK. I was always away doing something, whether it was either on tour or away doing, big training exercises. I needed an outlet, really, I suppose, and something to make myself more than I was at the time. So how did I get injured? It's an interesting one. So Afghanistan 2009. So I found myself on the ground at a place called PB4, Patrol Base 4. And initially I was with the Light Dragoon Battle Group. They were getting ready to leave and they were going to get replaced by the Coldstream Guards. I'd been out there for about a month. The day that I got hit, we were leaving our patrol base early in the morning to go and clear compounds, and we were going to be away from our patrol base for probably about 2 or 3 days. I got about 150 metres outside the patrol base when I activated improvised explosive device, which threw me in the air, and I landed unconscious on the floor. I was only unconscious for moments, and then when I came to, amongst the sort of the smoke and the dust and the flashes of light, I knew that, my world had changed, because my right leg was no longer there, my left leg was a mess, and I could see everything because my pants and my trousers had been blown off. So, I had a bunch of other injuries, including my arm, so I was in a bit of a sorry state. And to be honest with you, at this point, I didn't think I was going to make it. I didn't think I was going to get back home. But, I managed to hold on until the blokes got to me, and then eventually I got taken to the front of the patrol base where they started treating me, put tourniquets on my limbs, sort of started dressing my wounds. And then the Chinook came in, the medical emergency response team. They took me back to Camp Bastion, and then I was kept sedated from that Monday until the Friday when I woke up in the UK. So I was operated on the Monday, on the Tuesday back in the UK, and the Wednesday, and then woke up on that Friday. And that's really where I suppose my rehabilitation started. So when I got hit, I was 33, I'm relatively old, I suppose. Although I'd only just got married. And I'd only been married for 3 months at that point. I was walking less than 2 months after I was injured, albeit I was walking in the bars at Headley Court, and I wasn't allowed to take my legs home with me. But I suppose that there was lots of little things that were not insurmountable, but were challenges, like dealing with pain, dealing with this new life. There's lots to sort of initially deal with, but I suspect it was probably harder on my wife than it was on me, because, I signed up to join the military, she hasn't. And she then had to deal with the fallout of suddenly her husband comes back home with no legs. And I think it's probably harder on her. I think it was either 2017 or 18 when I started cold water swimming. It was just another challenge, really, that I'd set myself to see what I could. There was no sort of. I wasn't looking for a goal or something to attain. It was just something to try out to see how far I'd go. I'm going through a research program called the Advanced Study. And it's looking at the long-term effects of combat injury. There's, I think, about 1,500 people part of the study, and it's split into 2 cohorts, some injured, some are non-injured, and I'm matched with somebody that's not injured, and they're looking at just basically the long-term effects of combat injury. We get DEXA scans, we get MRIs, we get all sorts of we get hearing tests done, and one of those things obviously we get done is bloods. So I could see over the years that my testosterone levels were dropping slowly but surely. As a health metric, it was something I wanted to get looked at to see if there was anything available. And I knew if I went through the NHS, it was probably something I wasn't going to get help with. So that's what led me to the men's health clinic. Knowing my numbers is important. I've been on it for just over a year now, and I was getting fatigued quite a lot, particularly sort of the latter part of the day. You know, it was affecting my mental health. And I don't want to pigeonhole it because I wasn't depressed. I haven't got PTSD, but I wasn't myself. And then as soon as I started sort of taking it, obviously it wasn't immediate, but I noticed a change in myself. I think every man from his early 20s should know what their numbers are. Not that they need to necessarily do anything about it, and then looking at it later on in life to see if there's a difference or a change is just so important. But one, men don't talk about that kind of thing. Two, there's not a lot of marketing about it. You know, it's not something that comes up in magazines really, or on the TV. It's not something that's necessarily spoken about, I suppose, because it's not something that most blokes would even think about checking. It's not even a question of like, are you considering treatment? It's, are you considering to know what your health looks like? And being armed with that knowledge, because you might find something that needs looking at, whether it's testosterone, whether it's cholesterol, whether it's any other number of things that could just need tweaking in some way, or you know, whether it's lifestyle tweak or you know, some sort of intervention, you know. And I just think having that knowledge is just so important.